Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, because you watched Starcrash. All right, folks, Dr. Alan Barris, Michael Klink, along with me, Michael Vanderpool, here to discuss the Roger Corman production, Forbidden World.
Or Mutant.
Mutant?
Well, that's the German thing.
What do you mean? I'm so confused.
It's German, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Although it really should have been named Dingwhopper.
Yes, Dingwhopper.
What is Dingwhopper? Where does that come from?
It's the name of the mutant.
At one point, it's mentioned that one of the characters refers to it as the Dingwhopper.
Oh, so the Dingwhopper, and that's, spoiler alert, as always, right? It's not even an alien creature. It's a metamorph. They call it a metamorph.
It's not a xenomorph.
Alien, if I remember right.
Yes.
It's human DNA and some ridiculousness.
Yes.
Gave it all away, Alan,
Well,
just now.
you just said spoiler alert, so,
yeah, so fair
it's
enough.
free reign.
So known as Mutant, Subject 20, which is, they refer to it as Subject 20 in the film. That's its number, class, however they're classifying it. But better known to us as Forbidden World, as a recommendation because we watched the film Starcrash. Forbidden World is a 1982 science fiction horror film written by Tim Kernan from a screen story, this got me going, by R.J. Robertson and Jim Wynorski. I knew it was going to be good when Wynorski was involved. I'm going to look in, while you guys are talking, I'm going to look to see where this played into Wynorski.
Make it good.
Yes. Wynorski's making movies for two reasons, and we'll stop there.
Wow.
All right. So,
did you look up any of the trivia from IMDb on this movie?
No.
There's a lot of interesting things.
Fabulous.
Oh, man, I didn't look. I always look, and I forgot.
Like, one of the things is Roger Corman, obviously, was the producer of this, and at a test screening, one of the audience members actually laughed, and he didn't like that, so he slapped him in the back of the head, and at the end, when he was leaving, apparently the same audience member had poured Coke or poured soda on his head as he was leaving.
Really?
And then after that, they actually made cuts because it was apparently a comedic area that he didn't want there.
Interesting.
Because
it's not funny.
No.
So
but it's not scary either.
Yeah. It's weird.
It is funny only in the sense that from certain angles, the mutant, Dingwhopper, whatever we're going to call it, actually bears a strong resemblance to another Roger Corman monster, and that is Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors.
Wait, that was him?
Corman was the original director of the first movie, the
black and white.
Movie, black and white.
Yeah.
Oh, with the first
and
appearance of what's his name? Jack Nicholson. First appearance of Jack Nicholson.
Really?
Yeah.
In that movie. Yeah.
Wow,
He is the masochistic dental patient.
Yes. So apparently this film was filmed, or this movie, it's not a film. Movie was filmed in 20 days.
Oh man. Oh,
We
it kind of
tell.
shows. Yeah. I mean, I think the production design makes it look like a little bit more work went into it, but that doesn't involve people necessarily being like there and shooting.
No.
I think that there and shooting was pretty damn quick.
Yeah, but like the lighting of the effects and the effects themselves, except for the Dingwhopper or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
The human effect of the patients on the gurney, not bad actually.
Yeah.
I was impressed.
They're gross. They're gooey.
Yeah, I was quite impressed because I'm so used to Galaxina and Starcrash, where it was like, okay, wow,
Right. Bad. Bad for 80s.
Yes.
Whereas this is
79. When I realized it was 79 when this thing was made, I was like, holy crap. Because it looks really... No, wait. I'm sorry. Alien. I'm thinking Alien.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, but it is... I would argue the sets from Forbidden World are in the same class as the sets from Alien. You don't think so?
They're better, and the lighting's better, too. Like, just the act of the lighting being different. Because
you're saying the lighting is better in Alien than in Forbidden World.
Oh, yeah, but I'm saying in Forbidden World, the lighting is better than in Galaxina and in Starcrash. This is what I'm comparing it to. I'm not comparing it at all to Alien.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alien
actual professionals made this movie. It's just... It's
close. It's closer because of what we're comparing it to.
Yeah.
So, as part of...
I think they were aiming lower, ultimately.
As part of how we explore these films, we want to talk about its connection to Starcrash. So, the one big obvious one that you may have missed and I just realized today when I started watching this again this morning, is at the beginning of Forbidden World, when they are battling the spaceships, the lead character, what's his name?
Hero guy.
Cody?
I don't know.
Hero guy?
I thought I wrote that down at some point. I didn't even write it down.
Mike Colby. Sorry, Mike Colby.
Yeah.
Yells, fire! Fire! And it's almost the exact same cadence and everything as Acton does in Starcrash.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I didn't notice that. That's,
apparently, the actual ship battle was recycled from... what is it recycled from? That one other movie, Battle Beyond the Stars.
oh, yeah, which was also a Corman.
Yes. But I guess... What was the director again? Jim Warnowski? Was he the director too?
Not of this, no. He wrote the screen story. He wrote the story, not the script.
Well, apparently the director didn't have a script, and he had to film 4 days of shooting, and then they gave him a script. So they said just do a space scene.
And that is what came out of it?
Just the actors, because the actual ships were recycled from before, so
right.
It was just the hero guy and then the robot lady. Not even a lady.
I don't even know.
Robot child.
I don't know. Something. It was
Sam
weird.
is a very strange... Why that voice?
I don't
get it. That's a WTF for me.
Two different voices. But we'll get to that in kind of the WTF. Like there was an original voice and it was actually replaced later.
Huh.
In the DVD release, I believe.
Really?
Yeah. If I remember right. I don't know exactly. So, connection to Starcrash is that it is a science fiction film, is a derivative work or a blatant ripoff of, like, Star Wars is to Starcrash, Alien is to Forbidden World.
Definitely.
What is this movie, Forbidden World, trying to do? Make money off of Alien?
Yes.
That's a fair statement, right?
Yes.
Number one.
But I had I wrote down questions. My notes are just questions.
Awesome.
After questions with multiple question marks. Just from the sheer, what? But yeah, it seems like Alien was a thing.
1979.
Yes, made a ton of money.
Right.
And it seems like Roger Corman doesn't really like to do things too original. So let's just bank on this because it works.
And I think what's interesting is this model still is in play today and still works today. This is is not something that was just of the time of a popular hit movie about either a certain genre or a certain topic coming out, and then 3, at least 4 or 5 other derivative works, whatever you want to call them, come out.
Look at the MCU. Every other movie franchise is trying to cash in on what the MCU did.
Right.
Except they don't want to put in the work. So like Justice League. They didn't put in the work to build the characters like the MCU did for the Avengers for each of their movies to introduce them.
And I think that's a great comparison to what we're talking about here with Alien versus Forbidden World. All the pieces are there, but what it misses is that Alien breathes. That movie is so patient with what it's doing. And I think this is a stretch. If Forbidden World would have stretched itself out a little bit longer, dear God, been a longer movie.
Oh, God, no.
It would have been better.
I agree with that. Also, of course, this is also the vaguely sexploitation-y version of Alien, too. Because we have, of course, our multiple love interests, and everyone wants to have sex with this Roy Scheider knockoff at various points. So there's that angle. And of course, Wynorski is that's his signature, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so obviously there's that going on too.
So many things. So many things.
So many things.
So what are some more of your questions there?
So very beginning of the movie, he's in cryosleep, which is cool. Okay, and then they actually wake him up. But there's flashes of another movie. In the beginning of the movie, I thought it was a sequel. Like this movie was a sequel to another movie, and this was just flashbacks, like previously on, like they did for Star Trek in Search of Spock.
Yeah.
But it's just the movie spliced into the beginning,
which is an internal logic issue throughout because they use that quick cutting at a couple points.
Yeah.
And are we getting premonitions of what's going on? Is this an eternal cycle? I don't know. Is Colby doomed to constantly go to space stations and bone everything and then kill everything? I mean, there's no logic to it other than to be kind of artsy, I guess.
And I would argue yes, because specifically because of the music choice, right? That classical music piece, and I don't know the name of the piece that they use, but like it presents itself like it's going to be this space odyssey, like highbrow, like deep thinking, highly philosophical, inquisitive film. And I think it had the potential to, if you actually look at what the subject matter is, but just never takes the time to explore that part of the story before getting into monster eating faces.
Yeah. So that was one of them.
So did this movie make money? Was it successful?
Did it?
If this movie was trying to make money off of it, ripping off Alien, the budget, according to Wikipedia, under $1 million, box office was $4 million. Typically, the box office split is 50-50, so the film probably made money.
That's typical Corman, though. I mean, he might not ever make a movie that's really, really good, but damn it if he doesn't make money on occasion.
And that's 20 days of filming.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And he puts out a lot of movies in his time too. So again, I can see why he had some pull.
And it is so interesting because I just looked at Jim Wynorski's IMDb. He started really writing and directing in '82. So like his story here was like probably one of his first ways of getting involved with this whole thing. And he went from, we're talking 20 days to make a film here being quick. He was making films in 3 days.
What?
That was 3 days.
Wow.
3 days to make a rip-off film that he had pre-sold already to a place like Cinemax or one of those places. Yeah. So he was never going to make $1 million on the film, but every film he made turned a profit, which is not many producers, directors can actually say that.
Right.
So I think it was successful. If it was trying to at least make some money off of being an Alien clone or Alien...
I mean, we're talking about it.
And I think it is successful as being an Alien clone in the sense that if I turn this on, knowing what I was going to get, Alien clone, and I started watching this, I'm going to finish it. And I'm going to think, hey, parts of this were okay. I spent 2 hours.
Was it 2 hours? I thought it was like an hour and 20 minutes.
It's about 90 minutes would have been.
Yeah, I spent my 90 minutes. Yeah. All right. I don't feel ripped off here.
Yeah, that's actually 77 minutes. So that 84 would be like the average sweet spot of like a quickly made minimum viable product for a feature-length film. Right, so we're on the low end of that, which I think, again, some of those shots from Alien, the slow-moving shots, all those things take so much time.
Oh, yeah.
And not just time in the film, but like time to actually shoot, and time shooting is money. If you don't have that money to spend, it's like, okay, we're just going to do this like pan from, because at the beginning of Alien is all of those pan and tracking, moving shots back and forth. We get that in the beginning of Forbidden World when Sam, the robot, and there's that emergency, and it's kind of like that pan, but it's too fast.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're too quick to tell the story.
Well, it also seems like it's the knowledge and the talent of the director telling the camera where to go too.
Yeah. Well,
so if you have James Cameron? No.
Who was Alien?
Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott.
Yeah, sorry.
James Cameron was the other one.
Yep.
Ridley Scott, you have him. He knows, or at least now he knows what he's doing with the camera for the most part.
Right.
And then you have whoever directed this one where maybe they did?
Tim Kernan.
Maybe they didn't?
Tim Kernan.
I don't know.
So let's then get into our WTF moments, because there's lots of them. My number one WTF moment is going to be the poster, because the poster lies.
Well, yeah. All posters lie.
And I'm showing Michael a picture of the poster.
Yeah.
Not that bad.
That's what you expect.
Yeah, but...
I expect a monster and a lady.
but it still lies. Right? Because this arachnid type alien with vampire dragon wings is this is more of a sword and sorceress poster than it is a sci-fi poster.
Yeah, okay.
That's where they're lying. Sorry.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But I was halfway through it this morning. Not halfway through. I was to the point where the first love scene happens, and my biggest WTF moment, or the first WTF moment, was how out of sequence this thing is. It seems like they should have had their fun that night before the alien bit somebody's face off, because doing that after they, you know what I mean? Like, it just didn't take the time. Like, a traditional movie structure would be like 3 days, right? That first day should be kind of peace and normalcy, and then that second day is when fan, and the third day, you know, almost like the 3-act structure to some extent. Where in Alien, we don't see the monster until I think I just paused it because the first time was when it pops out, right? At the halfway point of the film. It takes a long time to get there. And then it becomes that much more interesting.
Right.
Fun fact about the Alien movie, though. I know it's not talking about it. But when the chest burster alien comes out...
Yes.
The rest of the cast didn't know that was going to happen. So their responses are genuine because they didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's cool.
And it is a genuinely, like, very disturbing scene. It's really good. So.
And that guy came back for Spaceballs. At the end.
Was that the same guy?
Yeah. And then, hello, my baby. You know.
Yeah, I finally get that reference now.
Exactly.
20 years later. But, I mean, there's another, you know, that's the interesting choices that directors make and the influence that they can have on a production. Because if you say, like, yes, this thing's going to pop out, act scared, well, then no matter how good of an actor they are, they're acting scared.
Yeah.
Versus having that visceral reaction. It was similar to, you've seen Rear Window with Hitchcock?
Yeah.
And when it starts raining and the couple's trying to get the mattress into the apartment from out on the balcony, Hitchcock supposedly told one actor to go one way and one actor to go the other way. So they were actually physically fighting, trying to take it in opposite directions. Anyway, that's me dropping my nerd cred because I read that somewhere.
Hitchcock is awesome, though.
Yes.
My first WTF moments, besides the clips of the beginning, was they show the blooded lab coat guy. He's got a lab coat on. It's got blood on it.
Yes.
I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but if you have that, you get rid of that because blood has germs and other bacteria and stuff in it. That's bad.
Especially when you're dealing with an alien organism. Maybe you might want to get that stuff off your wardrobe.
Exactly. But then the next scene, he's eating with it still on, and they're eating some sort of. They said it was shortcake, but it's on a platform, and the shortcake topping is just falling onto the table. I was like, what is happening here? And they're just eating it normally, and they made a big deal about eating it for some reason.
Well, because that plays into what the body becomes at the end, right? I mean, it very much looks like the gelatinous stuff at the end. This film is not horrible. There is probably some little bit of recutting and repacing that makes this and re-ending that makes this a really good film. I think it's close. I would argue this is closer than Starcrash to being a good film.
So my first WTF moment was the first time we see the female, I won't say crew members because they're not crew members, station.
Well, she was
people.
The screaming
Dr.
lady?
Glazer, and I can't remember who Steam Bath Gal was. But so those two are both wearing clear plastic heels.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which the first thing, I'm like, on a space station? And then realized it wasn't a space station, but still. And they also, and again, as a note of the time period they're in, if you watch Alien, it doesn't look like it's from 79. There might be some little things that if you really paid attention to it, like styling of hair or something like that you can pick up. But this is totally 1982.
Yeah,
because
the feathered
and not to dwell too long on it for fear of being bleeped out entirely, but apparently there was a market in space underalls at that point. Now, for those of you who are not old enough to remember the 80s, there was a brief period in which very, very high-butted pants were the norm for the ladies.
Aren't they called mom jeans now or something?
Yeah, but they're coming back now too, right? That high-waisted whole...
I guess it's time to invest in some underalls. But anyway, they both have that same look. And there's a nice camera shot, again, reminding us of what kind of movie we're watching, briefly, to indicate that.
But there's so little of that. That's so wild. Like,
right. It's not lingering.
Yeah, it makes this promise of TNA and I would argue, doesn't necessarily fulfill that, or does so in like the weirdest possible ways.
Right.
What did your wife Jackie call each of these?
No, so I watched this with my wife Jackie, and she's watched all the other ones up till now, and some of the other offshoots that I've stumbled on. Says, why do all these movies start like they're pornos?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because that's kind of
if this were that type of production, this would be a super, super high class, super high budget, I would think, production. I don't know. I'm guessing. Just because
I'm having a WTF moment right now.
Right? No,
I don't know what to do.
Because you have a certain
How long are the bleeps that we have available to us?
No, but if you think about it though, what is that? What is what are porn for? It's not for the stories. You don't get Playboy for the articles. I mean, I do. I don't. But no, like, seriously, like, you have a certain expectation of not really caring about anything.
Yes.
And this, they actually are trying.
Yeah, there is effort involved.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to get at.
They're trying to make a good film.
Yeah,
or at least a competent and together film, something that is worth watching for a while. I mean, it's not going to be high art. They know they're not going to beat out Ridley Scott with this, but they might make something that's entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, that's what and again, something that will make money and not be mocked too much.
Do you have another WTF moment?
Except for the Ding Whopper. It is kind of
this is a WTF moment from some research I did. This is an exclaim.ca film article. There's a quote that Corman made. I've always wanted to do Lawrence Arabia in outer space. This is something he said in reference to this film. And I don't know if that's tongue-in-cheek or how serious he was trying to be with that statement. But
it's really hard to tell with Corman sometimes. He's not Paul Verhoeven. In that Corman does have a vague awareness of the fact that he is a moneymaker, and that's what he does. He's not deluded like Verhoeven, where Verhoeven, with Showgirls in particular, thought he was making the think piece of the century and was trying to sell it as such constantly in the interviews. If you read the interviews before Showgirls came out, they are absolutely intolerable. Verhoeven is so far up his own posterior as to how genius this is going to be. It's a magical, incredibly intense satire, and it's garbage.
I've actually never seen that movie.
We at some point, not for this podcast, at some point we do need to watch Showgirls and talk about it, because it is an insane movie. It is almost an entertaining cult movie. But then it loses its control.
I'm thinking,
this is not that.
In the description for the podcast, I think what I'm going to do is list actually all the films that we even mentioned.
That's a good idea.
So then season 2 of this, because you watched Starcrash, we can actually go back, and because we watched Starcrash, we brought up something else, and then we can continue on, because there's only so many 80s science, fantasy, and sword and sorcery films that I care to watch.
That is
I've paid my dues, I think.
I'm going to drop another one, and I probably have before, Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
An interesting failure.
That was awesome to 5-year-old me.
We should look at that when Kevin Smith's thing comes out, right?
Yes, that's a good idea.
Kevin Smith is he making a movie or a Netflix series or something?
Yeah, that's right, Netflix series, I think. Yeah, that's right.
And then I think there's a new movie in progress?
There's always been a new movie in progress, so I don't know.
I don't know.
The WTF moment that I had was the two, the one, the Whirly Gig. The guy... What is he playing, right? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
And I just realized this morning that as this voyeur is watching these two people have sex, he's basically playing himself with this toy.
Yes.
So that's the metaphor there, right?
I will read verbatim from my notes. Buzzsaw / Whirligig. Better than what Earl clearly wants to be playing with.
But the timing of that whole scene is weird, because dude just got his face eaten off. There's an alien roaming around. I kind of understand the whole going to have sex thing, because new face, whatever, humans are humans, and just whatever. But like this guy watching that instead of like looking for the aliens just seems so out of place. And then he does it after. Just the pacing right there, like, could have been so much different. The structure could have been so much different.
And there are cameras in all the living quarters?
Of course there are.
That seems very bad. Just very much.
What could possibly go wrong?
Invasion
with
of
someone
privacy.
like Earl sitting there watching this happen.
And he's in an open space. Like, this is right outside their doors, so if anybody were to go out to go use the restroom, it's like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, I don't... yeah, exactly. Yeah, they did. That's the one thing, too, I never really fully felt aware of was the organization of the space.
Yeah, and that's something that with any of these movies where it is a monster, anything in the Alien ripoff genre, where it's a monster running around an enclosed space of some variety, whether it's, I don't know, a building that's closed off in the Die Hard tradition, or a space station, or a complex like this, or a ship. Any of these things, you got to have a feeling of space, or else it's just, here's a tunnel, and here's a tunnel, and here's a alley, or whatever. It doesn't make any sense.
They only had one hallway in that whole ship, or the whole station on the planet there. Because it was the same hallway he came in at, and then later on, it was the same hallway that someone else was running away. And then later on, the same... Because you can tell, because they shot exactly the same way every single time.
Well, that's one camera setup. It's faster.
Yeah, I know.
Right, yeah.
But it's like, okay, well, everything comes off this one hallway.
Compared to Alien, which at the very beginning, there are those slow-moving shots that kind of, through the space, that are orientating you at least enough to have a sense of space.
Yeah.
In space. My other one was the steam bath. I totally just didn't get the steam bath. Other than it was time to see the other female lead.
That, and I didn't get the yellow raid section with the two women. She had stuff on her.
The shower that I won't use the common parlance for.
Oh.
It has something to do with the tint of that particular shower. But
they had that scene, and then the next scene was the coffee bloody doctor guy. He had stuff on him, so the hero took him into the blue room, and they were both clothes. I was expecting, okay, they have to get naked. No, we're not having that.
Yeah.
This is that kind of movie.
Well, and I think, too, that's why I know that this film was trying to be serious, was with the sexualized scenes, they were shot in a way that was serious versus being over exploitative.
They could have easily had this movie without those scenes.
Yes.
I mean, there are certain,
which is true.
Yes.
Yeah, there are certain movies though where nudity is kind of important to the plot or to the character development or whatever.
It's not integral to the plot.
Yeah, this is just.
But it's also not. Again, Skinamax. Again,
exactly.
There's degrees of these things.
I mean, you put a red light on the scene and it's art scene versus...
or you shoot it from multiple angles.
Yeah, exactly.
Or do the weird intercutting with awful, violent scenes at one point. Are we getting some social commentary here, maybe? I don't know.
Somebody found out how to edit a film.
I think that's exactly what happened.
Let me try this.
Quick cuts.
Yeah.
Classes the joint up.
So odd.
There's also, of course, during the first round of space humping, there is also, right at the end of it, we see another crew member who is playing his space clarinet.
Yeah.
And in fact, we are seen out at the end of the movie with the wistful sounds of the space clarinet.
Is that what comes in at the end?
I forgot all about that.
And it's interesting because that is a diegetic sound, which means a sound in the film that's also used as a non-diegetic sound because you're hearing it in other scenes.
Yeah.
Really weird.
Again, weird. Much like with the cuts at various points. Again, is this what our hero is thinking about? Is he some kind of weird psychic? Is he destined to confront the Dingwhopper?
Before us recording this, I watched this. I forget, Sunday. I watched this. I think during the day. I had messaged you when I watched.
I don't know. Real humans watch football on Sunday.
Well, I don't do that. But no, I watched this on Sunday. So in order to re-up my memory about it, I watched a YouTube review about it. I forgot about the ending entirely. I didn't remember what happened at the end to them to go to cut to credits. And
you mean the very, very end?
The very end,
yeah.
The end scene. I thought it was, they get off, they get on their ship, they go, no, it's just done. Get out. We have your money now.
Be gone.
Yeah, that's it. Why are you still sitting there?
Like Ferris Bueller would come back in after the credits and be like, no, there's nothing else.
That's what it felt like there.
And I think that's one of the things that serious, thought-provoking films will do, though, as well, right? Like, leaving a point to, like, continue the conversation of what happened. This film was, even though it was this ripoff in a Corman production, I think they were trying to do something that was...
I could see that, I guess, but it just seems like they're like, okay, we had our 20 days. Time to wrap up.
Yeah, but
also,
I
which might
think
also
like, I mean, the idea of, and again, refreshing on the spoiler alert, a human DNA being combined with a what do they call it? Some protoplasm.
Yeah, B or something.
Proto B, some rapidly reproducing organism in order to solve the hunger crisis. I think is what inevitably they're trying to do. Yeah. So, and the fact that the DNA came from Annie, who was the mad scientist.
No, she was.
I thought she was his daughter.
I don't know about the daughter. She was a security dude or the main guy that was playing with the whiz thingy. Yeah, that guy. It was his girlfriend or lover or whatever. Because while he's looking for the malfunction, he randomly goes to the locker and he takes a locket and he puts it in his from her locker and puts it in his for some reason, and then just goes on with his life up until he dies. But
so Annie, I thought that it was the one doctor's relative.
Well, no, because the one doctor, the main dude, the older guy, actually used his DNA and put it into her, which is weird.
That is weird.
Oh, okay. So that's
so. I hope
let
that's
us
not
dwell on that.
Yeah. I hope that's not.
Okay.
Let's not dwell on that at all.
But it seemed like there's a bigger conversation that could be had in these silent, reflective moments these characters could have in this film that they just don't give it the time to actually have happen, right?
This is actually the opposite of the last few movies that we've watched because those movies could have been an episode.
Right. This could have been Cold Equation.
Yeah, this could have been 2 hours, 2.5 hours long, and probably a better movie, maybe.
Yeah.
Three things they could have done: made it longer, been more patient with it, cut out the leaving the space,
going outside.
Going outside.
Yeah, when you leave the confined space, you lose all of the claustrophobia that you've been trying to build up. That's part of the
and then it opens up this question: well, how did this body now get out here? Because remember the jump scare that they use, and then lighting at the end. If they would have darkened everything so the monster wasn't so obviously fake.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things Alien did. They didn't really they showed the monster, but they didn't really show the monster.
The best monster movies don't show the monster. Don't need to, right? Because it's all up here. And this one was just like, feed me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you had mentioned it looked like, what was it, Audrey 2
and Venom had a baby.
Yeah, that would have been a better movie. Because we would have gotten Venom singing.
We still would have gotten as many sex scenes as well.
Oh, yeah, I guess. That would have been But, okay, so there is a remake that happened called Dead Space, 1991.
With the magic of Mark Singer, which, by the way, if we go ahead with one of the potential directions we've been talking about for the second season, which is maybe doing sword and sorcery movies as our starting point, I would argue that one of our potential starting points should be Beastmaster with said Mark Singer.
So
also noted to be children of the 80s as the lead actor in V.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I remember that now. I forgot his name, so I put down Discount Kevin Sorbo.
Yeah, that does it too. At that point, it definitely does.
But he's in it, and Bryan Cranston's in it.
Nice.
And Bryan Cranston is by far the best thing about this movie, the Dead Space one. Everything is exactly the same, except set design is worse.
Set design's much worse.
And the
it
lighting
barely looks like any kind of futuristic thing at all in the actual station.
And the lighting is one strong light behind the actors and like a fog machine back there so that you don't really see the non-set in the back.
Yeah.
Apparently this one was filmed in 17 days. So take that, previous film.
Nice.
But this one is about them trying to fight disease and actually make disease itself. But everything is exactly the same. It's really weird.
Yes, it is very weird.
I highly recommend
Uncanny,
watching.
perhaps, even to watch in connection with this.
I'm just excited because this film got me to watch Alien. And I've only
Which
seen...
I'm very excited about, because then we can continue to Aliens, which I argue is the apex of the whole
It's
franchise.
a completely different movie.
It's totally different
Yes.
from being an action movie, ultimately.
So comparing Deathstalker 1 to Deathstalker 2 kind of difference?
I haven't watched either one yet, so we'll see. But definitely stop at Aliens. Don't go to Aliens 3.
Yeah. Poor David Fincher. He tried really hard.
Yes.
But it just didn't come together, ultimately. It's not... It's an interesting looking movie for a while.
Yeah.
And then it becomes like weird alien running around a monastery almost looking. It actually becomes too sparse and too weirdly cut down, because it's some kind of prison planet.
Yeah, and then isn't that Resurrection?
Oh, that might be Resurrection. Oh God,
they're all
we're coming up on it, so we are at 12:55. So we have a few minutes left. There's one thing I want to bring up because it plays into some of the other films that we've talked about. I think that I could watch, or anyone could watch, Alien with the sound off and understand exactly what's happening with the story.
Agreed.
Versus like what we talked about with Cold Equation and Starcrash, right? Like the visual storytelling in Alien is like, it just blows my mind that I haven't watched it before now. I mean, 30, 40 years too late or later. Could have watched it when I was 3, I guess. But.
Again, it does hold up fairly well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the mark of a good director, if you can mute the film and still understand what's happening.
Yeah.
And again, part of that's H.R. Geiger, too. The design work behind that is just, so good.
And it's all it is just a dude in a black costume with a weird head on. But the lighting then makes you think it's an actual alien.
So my short film that I made in college with a monster, lighting obviously hugely important. We wrapped our lead actor with garbage bags and sprayed cooking spray on him to give him like an actual sweaty glow. Like you could have done that. You'd have done that with the freaking Venom Audrey 2 hybrid thing in Forbidden World.
Very easy.
Yeah.
And with some lights that are maybe moving around because things have been chaotic, like that ending could have been so much better.
Right.
The monster kills it, right? Like and pardon the pun, but the monster just kills the movie.
But I mean, the person that's slowly decaying on the table looks amazing. Even after the head is caved in, it looks amazing.
Yeah, the goo.
The cocoon that it's in and falls out of. Now, again, that's when there's another WTF moment. The guy sticks his head in like this to look up at the thing.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, at that point, it pulled me out of it. It's like, it wasn't going to be...
How dumb are you, pal?
Yeah.
But then when he's attacked on his face, what he does is he just starts... banging things?
Instead of banging, he's trying to rip it off of his face.
Yeah.
He's banging the table.
It's almost as if they're saying, hey, destroy everything in this room. And he looks around and he's like, oh, there's one beaker. I still got to smash that because reasons.
Yeah.
So he's reacting as if a gorilla had been in the face with this thing.
Yes, but not trying to get the gorilla off of his face.
Right.
Like, just pull. Anyway, so what did we learn?
Venom and Audrey 2 would make a better movie than this.
As far as the monster goes.
As far as that and singing. Because they had some good songs in Little Shop of Horrors.
That is true.
Son Be a Dentist. I used to be able to sing that whole thing. That was my favorite part of that whole movie.
Yes.
Oh, mama.
And then with, what was that, the 80s? With Rick Moranis and Steve Martin? Was it the 80s? Or was it early 90s?
What do you mean?
They did a remake.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was talking about, the remake.
It's the one that everybody...
The only one I've ever seen
is the
remake.
that gets done as a high school musical.
It's a good one.
So it's really good.
It's Elvis as a weird dentist that likes to hurt people. And
It's
so
by Steve Martin.
I think what we've learned is you can make money making not great films.
Yeah.
Just by ripping off something else that's out there.
Definitely.
We've learned that high heels in space are a thing.
Yeah. Were they heels or were they wedges?
I believe they were heels.
I don't.
Okay.
I think heels. I don't think we got enough of the shoe.
There is the one part where the one female lead is consoling the female, and has the shoes in her hands.
Oh.
No.
And I think we see the heels there.
I don't remember the.
Oh, ladies, are your feet hurting? Let's think about why that might be the case. You're walking around in corrugated metal in these things. Let's think about that.
And I think the one WTF moment that we're really getting into is like the robot itself, Sam. So what have we learned? Sometimes you just have a character, and sometimes you just shut it off and forget about it.
Yeah.
That's basically what they did.
Don't give it a creepy kid's voice for crying out loud. Oh.
The hero turns on the robot, says, "Are you doing okay?" She's like, "Yep," and then turns her off.
Off again, yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So I recommend everybody watching this though. Like this is one that you would avoid. I think that there's some interesting stuff here, especially as a comparison to Alien, and especially if you want to talk about the things that made Alien what it is. A great way to talk about that is to look at what Alien wasn't.
Yes, and especially considering what we're going to be watching next time, which is such a it's a Mad Max ripoff, and it is so below the source material in that case, as a lot of the Italian post-apocalyptic stuff is.
So it's looking like I've never seen Mad Max, so I probably should watch that.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
I've never seen
I don't know
Mad
why.
Max
I've just never have. Even the new ones. I've seen Waterworld. Does that count?
Yes, weirdly enough. But
Cyborg?
ripoff.